Hey guys, and welcome to my commentary. In this commentary, I'm gonna show you strings and arrows versus fast pace, advantages and disadvantages of both of them. I've been asked to make a longbow shortbow build, which is strings and arrows, and I'm gonna talk about how it's benefiting, how it's not benefiting, what's the best weapons, combinations, what's more useful in a fight, which kind of enemies as well, and I hope I'm gonna help you guys. Although it's a build that I made and it's not just a build that someone asked me to make using his build, but the short bow. So strings and arrows. In string and arrows, what do you have? You have the long bow, you have the short bow. The advantage of the short bow is you can put poison, you can actually put a stun, and you can ignore the fact that the enemy will reach you too fast because you have the cripple on, and also you're ranged. So you have a nice advantage when it comes to melee enemies, because you can actually kite them a lot. You're ranged, they actually has to be in melee range to actually hit you. While you're ranged, you can deal massive damage in both ways. You can deal with your longbow by stealthing, moving a bit far from the enemy, or just pushing him and just using your rapid fire and boosting him out. If he's getting too close, you can move to your short bow and try to retreat as much as you can and get to safety, slow him, put some poison if needed, stop him from healing as well. And you can also range an enemy without getting close to him when it comes to a team fight. I'm not recommending using the short bow as a damage weapon, because it does not have high damage in any kind of way, in any kind of skill, in any kind of aspect, except condition. But you're not conditioned at the moment, you're using power, so short bow is not recommended for fighting with power. It's kind of a weak weapon when it comes to power builds. I've been asked to make a build with it, but it's in the bottom of my list of weapons for power. I rather take Warhorn and Axe, but people asked me to do it and I done it. I had some really nice fights with it. I had some chance on killing a lot of people as well, but it's in the bottom of my list for useful weapons when it comes to power. Now, using your longbow, it's your primary weapon, while swapping to your shortbow, it's really not good, because when you're swapping, you're losing a lot of damage on the enemy, a lot of pressure, and a lot of your evasiveness. The shortbow is not a highly recommended weapon for power, but it can still provide you the safety that you need. It can still provide you the condition that you need, the cripple that you need, or even the range, safe distance range that you need. But don't forget, shortbow is not that recommended for power, but it's working for some people. Maybe in my build it did not work so well as for other people, but I don't think so, in my own opinion, that shortbow is not recommended for power. It can be nice, it can be maybe easier for people, but I would not recommend it if you're gonna fight experienced players. So, I had some really nice fights with it, I really enjoyed, and I had a lot of fun. We're gonna move on to the next one. The next one is fast pace. Some of you know it's my correct build, which I'm using all the time, longbow and sword dagger. Also, first of all, why sword dagger? Sword dagger is providing a lot of evasiveness by every meaning. It's really evasive weapon. I'm not using it for power or anything. I'm barely damaging with it. I'm using it for condi and cripple with distance. It's providing me the distance that I need to keep from my enemies. It's providing me the poison that I need to keep on my enemies, and it's providing me the cripple that I need to keep my enemies around me, because I cannot run after warriors, allies, thieves, and so on. So why the longbow shortbow is not gonna overcome the longbow sword dagger? if you're gonna put a longbow short bow versus a longbow sword dagger, the longbow sword dagger will win because you can kite more than the short bow, and the short bow will not do the damage that the sword and dagger are doing. You will be more evasive than the short bow, you will put a lot more poison than the short bow, you will put more bleeding than the short bow, more cripple than the short bow, and you can also evade a lot more than the short bow itself, because the short bow has a tiny distance, and the sword and dagger, the first activation of the sword is 180 range, second activation is 600 range, which is this one-hand sword, second ability, the leap of the warrior. So you're even overcoming the range of a sword warrior while using those two abilities to escape, which is really nice. It's a distance gainer or a gap closer, however you want to use it. And I'm recommending the longbow sword dagger because doesn't matter in what build, it's really good. Even if you're a berserk, if you're a tank, if you're a bunker, if you're a hybrid, doesn't matter what, because longbow is a really massive, high damage weapon for power, and sword dagger is really nice for Condi, highly recommended for Condi. So if you're going hybrid, you have both sides. You have your Condi weapons and you have your power weapon. So you can use both of them to your advantage. Also, as you can see, I'm using Signet of the Hunt on my fast pace, and on my strings and arrows, I'm using Runes of the Traveler. So I do not need Signet of the Hunt. I'm using Signet of the Wild, but even with Signet of the Wild I barely saw any change, just that I got more stability and it's not really working. Disadvantage of the disadvantage of fast pace is that it's not easy to play it, because only with the longbow you're dealing massive damage and you need to know when to use your kiting weapons, otherwise you're gonna die. And also your pet, you need to know the times on your Seamot, because the Seamot is granting you the stealth and the boons that you need to survive. Without that pet, most likely I'm not sure the build will work, because the build is dependent on the Seamot as well. I never tested it without the Seamot, so I don't know. But I in rarely cases I use in this build my my elite skill Rampage is 1. In the strings and arrows I'm using it almost all the time because I need that burst, even though I got more power in strings and arrows than my fast pace build. But still, I am recommending, as a final result, I'm recommending strings and arrows for starters. And if you want to take it to the next pace, you can go for fast pace, which is a bit less power, but more critical damage, more toughness, more HP, and you basically can outnumber people when it comes to 1v3 and stuff like that, because you're more evasive, you will be able to escape, you will be able to kill more stuff, you will be able to fight thieves much better, which much more survivability, and a lot more chances to win than the longbow shortbow. You don't have to go shortbow or sword dagger, you can also go greatsword. It's a really nice weapon as well, but it has its disadvantages as well. I hope I helped you guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.